Hello everybody and welcome back to another daily task chat. I'm Natalie, Head of Change and Communications here at the Society of Genealogists. Ruth, could you introduce yourself? Because you're on my left again.
I'm Ruth. I'm the Events and Education Manager at the Society of Genealogists.
And then Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz Craig, Society for Workplace Studies.
And then last but by no means least, our special guest and sponsor of our day today, Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark and I'm Head of Online Development at The Genealogist.
I'm just going to quickly share my screen so that people can see whereabouts we are in the workbook, really briefly talk you through the task, and then we'll get chatting. So almost press the stop record button then. That would have been a bit disastrous. Right, share. Okay, so the task today hopefully is pretty self-explanatory actually. It's for you to, first of all, drop down all those tools that you'd like to try. And of course, you can come back to this throughout the event and add further thoughts. So yeah, space here for all the different tools that you'd like to try, just dotting them down, putting down their website address so you don't forget them. And then the next part of the task is for you to take one of those tools, and you can use this page as many times as you'd like. We'll have a duplicate copy saved where we put the workbook, so you can download individual pages of this. Pop the name of your tool in the box, and then really think about why you're actually using it. What is your aim? What is the problem that you are looking to solve? I'm very guilty of not doing this and getting really lost in tech just because I love it, which actually is absolutely fine. But if I then have, take a step back and think about why I'm using it, quite often that actually helps me use it rather than just playing with it. Then to think about some of the advantages and disadvantages of that particular tool that you're using, and your conclusion. And I've said tool in terms of tech, but this doesn't actually have to be an app or a web page. This could be a tool as in a particular genealogy technique. For example, DNA clustering kind of springs to mind as a tool as such you could use within your research. But before I keep waffling on, I'm actually sure that Mark has something far more exciting to tell us about one of the fantastic tools available at The Genealogist.
Thank you, Natalie. Yeah, so we recently, or earlier this year, released a new version of our master search. I feel that ties in quite well with the Tools Day. And because we're able to adapt and change with this new version of master search, we're asking our users if there's any feature that you can think of, a new way of finding your ancestor, let us know, so that we can introduce that new feature to the site. So as part of this review process, I think that would work quite well.
That's brilliant. What is, for those who might not have used it before, but briefly, what is Master Search?
So Master Search is our main way of searching on the genealogist. So you can pick whether you search for a person, an address, or a family. So for example, if you don't know much about them or they've got a common name, you could say that John Smith is married to Emma and they have a son called Mark. So you could do a family search like that. An address search is pretty self-explanatory. And then the master search for a person is a simple way to search and jump straight to the record you're after using a forename, a surname, and any keywords. So you could type in where they're born or where they're living or their occupation, year of birth, etc.
Fantastic. I think actually that's made me think as well about how when I wrote this, I was very much thinking about a tool as in an application or a web page, etc. But actually, you've really made me think that actually it can be a part of something as well. You can have a website or an application that actually has many different features and many different facets to it, and sometimes narrowing down on one or two of those and really focusing on them can help you master them, but also think of new ways of using them.
Yeah, definitely. So we're always adding new tools, and it is a lot of it based on feedback from our customers. So yeah, like for example, the Map Explorer tool that we also are well known for, where you can see any of our map-based records, such as Lloyd George, and you can see that in context with current geographic mapping, so modern day satellite imagery, for example. So it gives you that kind of context as to where your ancestor's house would have stood today if it's not still standing. So that comes from our users saying, when we just displayed a simple map and a pin on the website, people asking, well, actually, I'd like to see where that is today. So I always think feedback from the customers really helps us to develop these tools much further and faster.
Thank you. Are there any tools that you particularly like, and anyone or keen to investigate? I know we use Notion a lot here at the Society of Genealogists, which has many different ways that you could use it. It's a kind of it's a note-taking and kind of task organization tool, but you can really use it in lots and lots of different ways. I think it's fair to say it's probably one of your favorites, isn't it, Ruth?
I love it. Yes, I mean the SOG events program is planned on Notion. I mean, absolutely, and it's great that I can have lists of different things that I can bring together. So I can have lists of talks, a list of speakers, and have sort of separate cards almost with and tie those together. So,
which I think if you had time period and then ancestors, you can link different elements of your family history that way via the note-taking app. It's quite powerful.
Absolutely, yeah.
Liz, have you got any tools that you use to do your one place study or to keep yourself straight?
Although I love tech, I must admit when it comes to my one place study, I'm fairly low tech. I use Microsoft Excel to store my census and birth, marriage and death data, and it really works for me actually, because I can use it to generate stats if I want to. It takes a little bit of work and a little bit of tweaking. It's easy to sort and filter, to create family groups. I write my blog posts. I'm not a very regular blogger, but when I do, I write them up just on an ordinary, sort of document program. So I'm sort of fairly low tech, although I'm very open.
Think that's that low tech, Liz. I thought you were going to say paper and pen. I was like, Excel's quite a, it's not something that everybody knows how to use. So,
I mean, one of
yourself short there.
Thank you. I mean, one of the things I'd like to learn more about, not for writing about my one place study, because I think it's important, or at least it's important to me that I write it myself, but AI in terms of and I would be very careful about how I use it. But for example, I have used it to generate an illustration for a blog that I'm writing for my one place study. I wanted a picture of a 1930s woman on a bicycle. And so it doesn't have to be anything, I'm not trying to get the details of a uniform right or anything like that, but I'm not artistic at all. I can't draw. I just want a simple woman of a woman on a bike in the winter, 1930s style. And for that kind of thing, it could work really well. But the other thing I'm thinking that possibly it might be useful for is sort of for making very small videos for something like TikTok or YouTube, something like that. And we've got a talk coming up on that, I think. Mish Holman.
There is, yes. Yeah.
So, that I'm very keen to explore. So, but again, I would use AI very cautiously. And I would always want it to be my own work, because AI is a bit of a devil for plagiarizing other people's work. So I do it with care, but that's what I'm keen to be looking at during All About That Place.
It would be very useful to. Sorry, Natalie.
No, I was just going to say I've become a bit of a ChatGPT addict, I think, but not for actually. Again, funnily enough, not for asking it to write things, but for asking it for prompts. So for saying to it, I want to write about this, this, and this. Can you ask me some questions to get me going? Things like that. I found it really good for kind of prompting my thoughts, or for giving it some information and then asking it to write it in a particular style, then taking that and then I end up rewriting it, but it's got me in the right headspace somehow. So I'm actually a big fan. But yeah, sorry, Ruth.
I was going to say, I think for both of you, it sounds like it'd be well worth listening to Andrew Redfern this afternoon, who is talking about how to use AI in family history. So you should have some good ideas for us. Yeah,
brilliant. I'm definitely looking forward to the 2 AI talks. But I mean, we have a whole host of tools as well. I know there's Track You Back. So there's lots of WeAreXYZ there. There's lots and lots of things to look out for, I think, during All About That Place.
Lots on the genealogist as well. Very useful.
Do you, Mark, do you find that when you use a tool, do you try and think about why you're using it, or are you a bit like me where you delve in and then that comes later?
I kind of go the opposite way around. I have an idea of what I want to do and then go out and research and find out the best tool for that process. just for example, cloud services, I mean, a bit boring. You know, you normally use them Word docs and things, or online docs, whether it's Google or Microsoft, to all work in together with each other in the company. But I spent a little bit of time just researching the various cloud providers and figuring out which one provides the best services in terms of or cost and features to be able to store my family history. So I use Google. I've got Google Photos to store my photos of family history. I can keep that in a nice separate album, so it's not mixing with all my current day photographs. Using Google Docs, Google Sheets, really handy for tracking, and the general just cloud service to store a GEDCOM of my tree, because always have as many backups as you can get, as well as I got the various different software. So I've obviously been into genealogy. I've got Roots Magic, Family Tree Maker, etc. So storing a copy of all those files online. But I really find those kind of cloud services help more than you'd imagine. So because I've got my family tree up there, and I've got like reports and like a narrative report in a Google Doc, I can share it with my living relatives. And so, what do you think to this? Can you add anything to this? My photos are really handy in Google Photos because of the facial recognition that they use. It's grouped all my pictures together, so I can search for my great-grandfather and see him throughout his life, from a baby up to, you know, when he was in the First World War. So yeah, those modern services
agree with
work
you.
really
I think
well.
they're really, really underrated and underutilized. I'm a Google Workspace person myself, and I use it every day and find it really useful. But I also think what you said there about thinking about what you want to solve and then going investigating it. But you said that you looked into different criteria. So, for example, price. And you know, if you're not like me, you're quite sensible and quite disciplined. That I think that's a really good tip to actually think about. Okay, what are my different criteria as well? You know, it might not just be about ease of use. It could be about you know, sustainability or price or you know, ethical considerations. There could be a whole host of different things that you might want to put on your kind of personal criteria. So I think that's actually a really, really great tip.
And another thing I'd say is reach out to the community. There's lots of forums out there for family history, including, obviously, we've got a forum on the genealogist, but just reach out, because there's so many people that are doing the same thing as you. So you may not know about a tool that exists that does just what you need to do.
Absolutely. I think that's such a brilliant tip to end on, actually. And obviously feel free to post in all about that place as well, in the Facebook group. It's a really great community there. That, you know, the group will stay open after the event. So you know, so use it. Absolutely. Okay, thank you everybody for joining me. And for those watching, we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye-bye. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye.
Bye.